Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning and happy Holi to all.
Happy Holi, sir. Happy Holi. So today we are going to discuss about a new topic that is your ICSC Class 10 Mathematics. So this year we have a reduced syllabus, not a regular
Yes,
one, but which we have in the previous or last few years. So there will be a
yes.
slight change in the syllabus as well as there will be an expectation that there should be some changes in the question paper also. So sir, what do you
Yes.
think that what how a students can prepare for this last 30 days for their board final examination?
See, the basic rule for preparation for the class 10 exams, ICSE specifically, is to
Hmm.
go through the topics and first and foremost revise and understand which topics is your strength. First, you should find out which are the strengths, which are the topics you are confident with, and then go along with it. Generally, what we see, according to the question papers that have been set in the last 10 years, although there has been a shift or there has been a change in syllabus a couple of years back, but generally the section A, which is the compulsory section comprising of 4 questions, 10 marks each, is a section which
Yes.
is predominantly easy and scoring.
Okay.
There are not too many dicey or for that matter questions by doing which the students might struggle. So
Okay.
basically in section A, if you are thoroughly prepared, if you have followed the last 10 years pattern, if you have gone through the examples and solved the sums from the exercise books, whichever book you might be
Hmm.
following, there should not be a problem in solving section A. The key to section B is first and foremost in the 15 minutes that you have for reading, that is the 15 minutes reading time that a student gets, he or
Yes.
she must understand and prioritize which questions they will attempt. Those 15 minutes are very, very vital in choosing the questions that are to be attempted in section B. Whichever
Okay.
topics the student is comfortable in, they should choose those topics and choose the 4 questions which they think would help them in scoring better. So the 15 minutes, rather than wasting and thinking about how to solve a sum, it is most important that the student goes through the question paper, chooses the questions correctly and wisely, and then goes about solving the sums. That is the most important thing.
Sir,
Now, if we go
just
topic wise,
just one more thing, sir. One thing that the
yes,
all the students the preparation for is not like a uniform. That we cannot expect that the 40 students of a class has the same level of preparation. So some of them has a low preparation. They
yes,
are looking for suppose after class 10, some of
right,
students has their mentality set that after in class 11 they will
right,
not going to choose the mathematics. Just they have to
right,
complete
right,
up to class 10. So for
right.
these students, which topic will be most preferable?
I think for the students who are weak in maths, so-called weak in maths, I think they should definitely opt for commercial arithmetics or commercial mathematics that we call, which comprises of goods. For this year, we have GST and banking. Why? Because both the chapters are completely formula-based chapters. Sums are direct and based completely on formulas. There is not much of thinking that needs to be done. So it can be done pretty easily and they can solve it. In algebra, I think linear inequation is a chapter which the students might opt for, because in linear inequations, students generally who are in class 10, they are able to solve equations, thereby they are also able to solve inequations. Where the struggle is in the formation of number line and the formation of the solution set. But even if they are unable to form the solution set or enumerate the solution on the number line, they'll still get some step marks for linear inequation. In
Okay.
matrices is a chapter which is pretty easy, which can be solved and which can be scored off. AP is another chapter which is based in algebra, based completely on formulas, in which you have to find out either the number of terms or the sum of series or the term in general. So that is another chapter which can be scored off. In
Okay.
the other parts where the students can score is reflection, whereby they can use the graph and reflect a figure and thereby score a substantial amount of marks.
Okay.
Probability is a section where they can score a substantial amount of marks. Probability is easy to score off. Statistics is a section where a lot of marks are scored, whereby you have to find out mean, median, mode. So statistics, and not only mean finding out the formulas by mean, median, and mode, but also by using the ogive and histogram. Those things have to be understood, done. So these are the things where the students should prioritize. The students can also practice factor and remainder theorem, which is another easy chapter to score marks. Generally, what we see as teachers, the students who are weak in general, they struggle in trigonometry and geometry. But otherwise, all the chapters which involve formula and the usage of formula, those chapters I think should be attempted. Even volume and surface area is a chapter which can help you fetch a lot of marks.
So this chapter, sir, comes under the topic mensuration.
Yes,
This chapter, there's a volume and area.
volume and surface area. Yes.
Okay.
But if a student is
Sir,
looking, there are lots of students who are weak and their main motto is to pass in the exam. I think that is pretty easy. I will, in the course of the discussion, also give the students an idea about what the mark distribution generally is in the board exams, so they can have an
the
idea
most
and prepare accordingly.
probable marks distribution.
Yes,
That is
most
most
probable.
probable.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay, so that part we will come later. The first thing
yes,
that another one, that if we compare the syllabus with the present syllabus of class 10 of 2021 with the
yes,
year 2020. So
yes.
what do you think that the previous year syllabus and the this year syllabus, how much easy for this year is in
See,
comparable to the comparison to the last year?
I think it will be difficult for me to say whether it is easy or not. If you consider chapters and topics, definitely the exam that is to be given in 2021 or the exam that is to be given this year is easier. But with the reduction of syllabus, the
Mhm.
students need to practice thoroughly. What used to happen earlier was the students could have practiced certain specific types of sums and could have scored
Mhm.
marks. But since this syllabus
Yeah.
has got reduced, so the students need
Mhm.
to be very, very specific and very, very precise about their preparation of the chapters which are there in the syllabus right now.
Okay. Sir, another thing that the students have prepared themselves throughout the year, but most of the time of their academic session 2021 has passed through this online mode. They have given most of the examination in online mode.
Yes,
So, what do you think that writing up
right.
the numericals, how is how many then approximately in a day, that how many times they should spend to solve the numericals to get a good score? Because as per my concepts, that time management is one of the most important thing in the examination. So if they
Absolutely.
become slow during solve any numerical examination,
Yes.
so they might miss some marks in the to solve
Right.
any
Right.
numericals in the examination.
Right.
So
So
what? How many times
my
they should
objective and
train on
my
mathematics?
yes, my objective and my suggestion to the students always have been to spend a maximum of 5 minutes per sum at an average. So that is, they in the ICSE exam they have to solve 24 sums. If you look at all the subparts included, there are 8 questions,
Hmm.
generally carrying 3 subparts each. So in general, a student has to solve 24 subparts. So if a
Okay.
student takes 5 minutes at an average for each subpart, then they spend a
Hmm.
total of 120 minutes, which is 2 hours.
Hmm. Yes,
So
exactly.
2 hour means they have an additional 30 minutes to revise. And
Hmm.
as you know, in the examination hall, when you are giving a board exam, there is
Hmm.
some wastage of time, or some time is wasted while you are asking for the paper, or while you are showing your ID, or doing things. And also, it takes some time for the tension to set in, and it
Exactly.
takes some time for the students to relax. So I think they should
Yeah, exactly.
at least have 30 minutes in hand if they are to prepare themselves properly, and they are to feel relaxed. That is very, very important. So when they are practicing at home, it is very important that they keep a timer and see to it that each and every sum is solved within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's will be one of the important point that you have mentioned.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
Time management, as you rightly pointed out, every year I see a lot of students coming up to us and telling us, "Sir, I knew the entire paper, but I did not get time and I could not finish." And that is the worst
exactly.
feeling that you can have.
Okay, sir. Another thing that calculation part that we oftenly observe during our corrections that the students
Yes.
are doing some silly mistakes during their sign convention. Suppose and they are doing some numericals from their when they are copying the numbers from their question paper. They done some mistake,
Yes.
and due to which the
Yes.
complete sum becomes wrong or the answers become wrong. So in
Yes.
these situations, the students will get anything that as they completely their methods are completely right, but they have done with a different numerical value. That's why they are getting a wrong answer. So in this situation, are they going to get any marks?
See, I am not in a position, or it is not right for me to tell you how the marking is done in the board exams, because that is not something that we
Okay.
should be disclosing. But
Okay.
generally, it is important that while copying down the questions, that you
Hmm.
do not make a mistake, at least while copying down the question. In the midst of the calculation, if you make an error here and there, then
How they can
you
improve
lose.
this concentration level?
Yes, you lose marks, but you do not lose the entire marks for the entire question.
Yeah.
But if you
Yes.
start copying the sum wrong, then
Hmm.
completely it is up to the jurisdiction or up to the discretion of the teacher concerned, and according to what the board is maintaining for that year, whether they will get
Hmm.
marks or not. So while copying down the question, it is very important that they copy down the question properly.
Okay, how they can reduce these errors? Is there any method that thorough methods by practicing or
See,
they by meditation,
see,
something
but
like that?
as you know, what for numericals and for practical purposes, for practical subjects, the more you practice, the better you become. So the more you will
Exactly.
practice, the better you will become, whether it is in calculation, whether it is in reducing the time that you are taking for a particular sum, and things like that. But the one general mistake that students make is, whether you are doing one particular sum or not,
Hmm.
generally what students do is, after doing one particular sum, when they think that the sum is wrong, they generally cancel it, whether it is by
Hmm.
pencil or by pen. My suggestion to them would be not to cancel. Just keep it,
Okay.
redo the sum if you want, but not to cancel it, because
Hmm.
it might so happen that for the steps that you have done, for the steps that the student has done, they might get some marks. But once you cancel the answer, there is no possibility or there is no position for the external examiner or for the supervising examiner to give you any marks. So please do not cancel any question, any answer for that matter. If you think it is wrong or if you are not getting the answer, you do redo the question again. There is no problem there, but please do not cancel. And please do not
Okay.
write, please omit.
Sir, now I would like to come to the section like the students who are looking
Hmm.
for suppose 80 above, okay, like 90, or some of the students also think to score 100 out of
Hmm.
100.
Hmm.
So what will be your suggestion? How they should practice or how they should prepare themselves to score such a marks in examination?
See, this, for the students who are looking to score well, that is above 90, my suggestion to them would be to prepare the chapters thoroughly and look into the little or the small aspects which are important for the boards. Generally, what we see is when people are drawing graphs, they do not write what scale they are using. They do not write which axis represents what. For the number lines, for the solution set, they are not giving the notation of a set. So small silly mistakes are the ones which needs to be avoided. Silly mistakes, small mistakes needs to be avoided, and you need to be precise at what you are answering and what you are looking at.
Okay, sir. So now, if I ask you to discuss some important parts from the syllabus that might have some deep discussions or might have to practice more or need to give extra attentions for the students to score a good one, good marks, some important parts or some comparable, if you compare with the other topics of the syllabus, these things are quite difficult for the students. What do you think? Which topics should you take under these
I think
situations?
I think the topics which needs to be practiced more or which are a bit more conceptual than the other topics are
Hmm.
definitely trigonometry. In the trigonometric proving part especially, students need to practice properly, knowing where to use which formula, which techniques, as well as in terms of geometry, whether it is circles or similarity or things like that, which theorem they are using, which property they are using. They need, while solving a particular sum, they need to write given, required to prove. If they are making any kind of construction, they need to write that. And for each and every statement that they are writing for a proof, they need to write the reason as well. So if you ask me about 2 3 topics, I'd say circles, trigo, and the other topic which students find a bit difficult is proportion means specifically the componendo dividendo part, where to use
Okay.
componendo, where to use dividendo, and where to use both, and how to get it done. The third and the fourth topic, which is easy but which is associated with trigo, is heights and distance. For heights and distance, the figure is mandatory. You have to draw a figure. You have to show properly the angle of elevation or the angle of depression, whatever the sum is suggesting, and accordingly solve the sum. While solving the sums on heights and distance, people do not mention which triangle they are considering. They write, we know this by this is equals to tan 45. But from which triangle are you getting this side by this side? So these things are are certain things which the students need to look at if they are to score well and they had to make or minimize mistakes.
Sometimes, sir, sometimes the students thinks that the first part that you are talking about, that question paper is divided into two major parts, each of
Yes,
40 marks, where the first
yes.
section has a comparatively easy numericals or easy mathematics. So students often might think that we should spend lesser time to solve this section, and we should spend more times in the section B, as there comparably quite harder numericals are there. So what do you think? Is there any such concept should spend by the students to enhance their marks or enhance their efficiency?
See,
That there will
it
be
is complete. It
invalid
is
time spending.
See, this is something which varies from student to student. Some students prefer doing section B because while going through the paper, they are the ones who choose the questions in section B. So they know
Hmm.
which topics they have chosen, which topics they are comfortable with, and they want to get those sums done so that they build their own confidence.
Okay.
While doing section A as well, why? Because all the sums are compulsory, it is up to the student to decide which sums they are doing, which topics they want to do. The one thing that I'll suggest them here is, if while doing one particular sum or one particular question, that is, if you are doing question one, if you know, since it is compulsory, if you know two parts and you do not know the third, leave space for the third part and move on to the second question. Do not spend a lot of time thinking about what would be the answer to the third part. I knew the first two parts. If I lose this, I lose a lot of marks. Don't waste a lot of time on one particular question. And do not make a mistake or make the mistake which a lot of students make, that they do two parts of a question in one particular place, then do the third part in some other page. Please do not do like that. Keep space for the sum and move on.
So one more thing that we should discuss about that during this last few days before their examination, students, some of the students, those who think to score more than 80, 90, they try to practice all the questions from the book, or they just taken out their previous copies. They try to go through all the questions that they have solved throughout the
Hmm.
years. So which one will you
Hmm,
prefer
hmm.
to solve before their examination by itself themselves, or they should go through the previous solutions that they have already done? Which one will be more preferable?
I think the thing that I prefer or I ask students to do before the exams is to solve papers rather
Okay.
than going through particular topics or the book itself, in solving
Okay.
papers, and also in going through the examples, because it's not possible to go through each and every individual sum from the book. So rather than going through each and every individual sum, to go through the examples and to solve as many papers as possible, because while you're solving papers, your speed gets better, and while going through the examples, you generally get an idea about the different kinds of sums which are there in the book and which can come for the board exams.
Okay. Sir, my last question is like this year, as we are having the final examination in the offline mode, some of the students are really scared about this offline one because they don't have this experience throughout this year. So, in this, if we keep this in our mind that we are going to follow the COVID protocols, then how many times we are going to lose during this examination? They are going to lose much time because we should follow the COVID protocols also. So
Right, right.
the students that should increase their concentration and should pay more attention their question paper during this examination also.
Right.
So what do you think that in previous year, suppose the students going for 3 to 4 paper solving or mock test examination by itself, for this year, well, what do you think that 4 or 5 or 6, how much mock test will be good for the students to make a valuable result or get a good score in the examination?
I think the more you solve, the better it is. There is no two ways about it. The more question papers, the more mock tests you give, the better it is for the student. And they should take it sportingly. Sometimes what happens is, once you give a mock test, you sometimes realize, okay, my preparation is not up to the mark, and then students start getting demoralized. But they need to understand that the mock tests are designed in a way so that you need, or you learn about your deficiencies, where you are lacking, and so that you can prepare accordingly. So the mock tests are designed to help you build your confidence, to help you understand which topics need attention, rather than building your confidence down or taking your confidence down. So rather than seeing the mock test as a challenge, they should take it sportingly, and they should prepare well for the mock test. A lot of the times, what we see is when people give mock test, or when the students give mock test, and when they score poorly, and you ask them, why have you done so poorly in the mock test? The answer is, sir, I wasn't prepared, or I did
Yes.
not prepare for this exam. So there is no point in giving an exam if you are not prepared. It's a wastage of your time. It's a wastage of the time of the teacher who is taking the test. And because it will not help the teacher, or it will not help the student to understand or evaluate themselves in a genuine manner. So the mock tests are
Exactly.
designed for evaluation. So when you are prepared, you should give the mock test then, so that you are able to evaluate yourself properly.
So one more thing that I want to know from you, that the thing is, some of the students just inform me that they have started their preparation from this
Hmm,
January or February. Okay, throughout this
hmm,
lockdown session, they didn't do anything. Okay,
hmm,
just
hmm,
now when they came to know about their offline examination, their final board examination is going to be
hmm, hmm,
offline.
hmm,
So they
hmm,
start their preparation from this January or February. So
hmm,
within
hmm,
this few months, it is very difficult to go through all the points, all the topics of the syllabus.
hmm.
So they should go through some highlighted point from the topic so that they can grade at least 60 or 70. Okay, so
Yes.
what do you think? Is it possible? Then how much effort they have to give?
See, once you are starting your preparation from January, it goes without saying that the level or the effort that needs to be put in is much more than if you would have started from the very beginning. But as you rightly pointed out, if you have started your preparations from January, then you should strictly follow the scope of syllabus, see which topics are there in the syllabus for this year, and prepare accordingly. But let me assure the students that even when you are starting your preparations from January, you still can score well if you are dedicated enough and disciplined enough and study in a proper methodical manner. So there is nothing that is impossible. So if the work is done in a methodical manner, I think they have the scope of scoring well, because ICSC examination is an examination which is very, very student friendly, where students can score well if they are prepared and if they are willing to take the exam seriously.
So thank you, sir. So last few words, if you want to say anything for the ICSC aspirants, students, those who are going to give their first board examination in this May, and then after that we will conclude our discussion today. So
I, I think my suggestion to them would be to go through the chapters, prepare well, be thorough with whatever they are preparing. You need not be fully prepared if you are attempting a certain amount of marks. But whatever you are preparing, or whichever topics you are preparing, you must be thorough with that. You need not be you need not be well equipped at handling all the topics. That is fine. The other thing that is very important is to be confident and not to feel distressed or tensed during the examination. And my best wishes to all the students. After the board exams are over, we will also discuss about the solution of the paper and about this year's paper, how the solution needed to be done, and about the solution in general.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time with us. Thank you,
Thank
sir,
you, and all the best to
and
all
all
the
the best.
students.
Thank you, sir. So I'm
Thank
going
you.
to end up this meeting now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.